Welcome to the space between. So this is the space that I've created where between you and I, we can learn, grow, laugh, and even heal. My name is Rebecca, or just Rebex, and I want to get right into the chat of this video, which is being honest with myself about why it has taken me so long to start chasing my desires. In this video, I want to look at the underlying causes of what was stopping me. I want to look at the tools that I finally used to get myself out. And finally, now that I've started, now that I'm taking action, what's the next steps? So in the spirit of being honest with myself, I am lazy. And I don't think lazy is a bad word. Honestly, I don't think lazy is a word that should be used to shame people. I think it is just a symptom of an underlying thing that's going on. And for me, it was three main things, right? Which was my self-esteem. I had gone to a place in my life where I did not think I was worth effort from me, let alone anyone else. I did not think that I am worth waking up early, getting my gym clothes on, going for a workout. That's too much effort. For what? Just for me? Oh, what? This is just me. I don't matter, right? Even cooking, a home cooked meal, not even Sunday course. Get a regular meal, starch, meat, veggies. I didn't even want to do that for myself because it was too much effort. And I had to get to a point where I had to realize that I'm not just being lazy, I'm just not valuing myself. I'm not putting in as much energy as I would if it were for somebody else, because I value other people, right? They need to eat, they are hungry, and even when they eat, the food must taste good. But who cares? It is just what it is, right? So I had to realize that my self-esteem needs some work. I need to me, be valuable enough to do whatever it takes to keep myself happy, to impress myself, to, be proud of myself. I had to really look at myself and say, we're now hard. If we're being honest, you do not love yourself the way you need to. And the second thing for me, if I look down, just know it's my notes, I made notes. But another thing, the self-esteem also fed into my fear of failure, which is the second thing that was kind of holding me back and making me lazy. In my head, I did not think I had what it takes to be a social media influencer. I mean, I'm not the life of the party. I don't have the personality that some of these YouTubers seem to have. And in my head, basically, I didn't have any proof that I'd be able to be a content creator and be successful. And the irony of that is you actually have to record something or create the content in order for the proof to exist that you can. But you also can't create because you don't know if you can. So it became this vicious cycle of me just doubting and coming up with the reasons why I can't, I shouldn't start yet. Oh, I don't have a good phone. I don't have quality. I don't have makeup. I don't have great outfits. I don't have a set or space to film in. But I also had to realize, dude, you have to start where you are at the end of the day. But I had a very deep-seated fear of failure, of just not being good enough. And then lastly, being disconnected from myself. Now, this is a whole conversation, to be honest with you, because it started with me going through a really deep depression. For like 10 full years, I was depressed. I was the type of depressed where you might need some medical attention, and I did get for some of those years. But that's a whole another video. If you would like to hear more about that, then I can record maybe my journey through depression and out of depression, because I would like to think, and I know that I'm not in the space that I was, but I was not disconnected. I was not connected with myself, rather, to the point where I was so disconnected to myself, even though I spent a lot of time alone. I was one of those forever alone, never leaving the house type of people. And you'd think Horomoto Omoso is spending a lot of time with themselves because they enjoy their own company. And that's what I said to myself too. But I also realized at the same time that I wasn't in the company of myself. I was always watching something or reading something, or just my mind was elsewhere, not facing me. And that meant that I never got to think to myself, what do I enjoy? What types of foods? What types of people? What types of activities? What issues in the world or topics interest me? And what hobbies would I be good at? What do I like? So I didn't spend that time to get to know myself. And it shows up when you don't know yourself. You become directionless. So I think that's another thing that made me lazy, because I didn't even know what I like to do, so I did nothing. So yeah, these three things were the major things I believe that kept me lazy. Just having a low self-esteem, the fear of failure, so you don't even want to try, and then just being so disconnected from yourself that you don't even know what to try. Even if you did want to say, okay, I want to do better, or I want to chase something, what are you going to chase if you don't know yourself? So now that I've established the underlying reasons for my laziness, I had three main tools that I used to get myself in a place where I get like, okay, yeah, now maybe my head space makes sense. So the three main things that helped me get out of my slump was shame, aspirational people, and spirituality. Now the shame one I know is a bit controversial, but I did, man. I watch people like David Goggins. There's this video clip where he says, you're lazy, you know exactly what to do, it just sucks doing it. So things like that I would say to myself to get myself out of bed. Or even after going to like family events or funerals and everybody commenting on all the weight that I had gained, I would replay some of the things that they had said to me, just to remind myself that this is how you're showing up in the world, this is the feedback you're getting, these are the reviews, that you've gained weight. There's this one cousin of mine, and they probably don't even remember they said this, but they were like, wow, you've gone so big, you are my size now. And I remember that line stuck to me so bad. I would use it. Like, there would be days where I'd be lazy to go into the gym, or I just didn't feel like it, and I would remind myself that Kana, this one said that you've gotten so big that you look like them now. And I would say to myself that you're being lazy right now. Like, really? This is who you want to be? This is you, fam? And things like that would make me get up eventually. And even in the gym, I remember there would be moments where I would be on the treadmill literally playing back the words that I'd hear from family members about my weight gain. The music would be blaring, but in my mind, I would be hearing those words, and it gave me energy. It fueled me. I can't explain it, but I know that it was a manual reminder to myself of what I didn't like about myself. This can obviously go to an extreme where now it consumes you and it becomes negative self-talk. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying in the moments when I needed to get up, or to get myself to the gym, or to go a little bit longer, finish my time on the treadmill, then I'd be like, well, you can take the easy way, or you can remember that this is how much weight you've gained. You can remember that this is how long you've stayed without reading. You can remember that this is how long you've stayed without doing anything nice for yourself. So using shame as a motivator can work. I'm not saying use shame, but to me that really helped. The second thing was having aspirational people. I had to remember who were the people that I used to look up to. And I know growing up, Oprah was a big one for me. She was this larger than life figure who happened to be woman, who happened to be the same race as me, who happened to be somebody who's from a background where they didn't necessarily have money to put her where she is. So that larger than lifeness was something that I also wanted. I wanted to perform so well in whatever field I choose that the magnitude feels that big. And locally, Bonang was another one for me. She was just the epitome of perfecting something, working at something until you're so good at it that it doesn't look like you're doing anything. It looks like you roll out of bed being that person. So I reminded myself of that, and what that did was it laid a good foundation of, if they can do it, so can I. We are the same species, we are the same gender, we are the same race even. We come from the same country, come on. We're made from the same elements. So having aspirational people really, really matters, and if the closer those people are to you, the better for in my case, because it took away some excuses that I could have added on. If I had looked at somebody who's a different gender, race, from a different country, then those would be my excuses. Yeah, well, they were born male, or they were born this race, they had this and that. But having aspirational people really also helped, right? And it showed me what putting in can get out, or can get you out, right? And then a really big one for me was spirituality. I cannot speak enough of this one. And it doesn't even matter whether you are Christian, you're Buddhist, whatever your faith is, lean into that. Make sure that you are spending time reinforcing that faith, because as the saying goes, prayer doesn't change God, it changes you. And that is the truth. I remember when I was getting out of my depressed state, or when I was just tired of being depressed, I started calling to God. I started saying out loud, God, I need you. Father, I need you. I was so lost. I didn't know how to pray. I didn't know how to read the Bible. I was just stumbling. And from just asking, I was just saying, God, please help me. Come help me. And that turned into prayer. Then I started speaking to God. And what that did inside me was it put a lot of gratitude in my heart, right? Because when you pray, you don't just ask for things, you also say thank you. So gratitude started filling my heart, and that changes how you behave. Like when you wake up in the morning and you say thank you enough mornings, eventually you'll start to feel like, wow, I'm lucky I got up. So it's a good feeling. And then from there it grew into, okay, now that I have spoken to God, I have to hear him, right? So I had to consume the text, the Bible, what's God saying. And I also didn't know how to read the Bible. So I would literally open the Bible at a random... Hey, how about when you're recording on a 3310, you can only record for 2 minutes. Sorry, my video cut. But I was saying that I would open the Bible on a random verse and say, this is what God wanted me to know today. And if you know the Bible, you know that some of the verses are just lineage, right? History. And I'd open a verse like that, where there's no message really, but it's just like context of a story. And I would not understand, okay, what am I supposed to get from this? What is God trying to say? And then I realized, okay, I might need to go to church and see how other people who are on the same journey, who are trying to get to the same outcome that I am, how are they doing it? And that helped, because they would read a verse in church and they would, expound on that verse. What does it mean to them? It would be a whole thing. So that definitely helped. It strengthened me on the inside. To this day, it's a journey, right? I'm still building my relationship with God. I'm still figuring it out. But what I know for sure is that spiritually, I am covered. Spiritually, I'm in a place where I'm becoming even more confident. Even a lot of the worldly issues that I have, like anxiety and all of those things, I can help that, or I can deal with that through my spirituality and through speaking to God and through understanding who I am as a child of God. But yeah, so those three things are what helped me get from, wanting or remembering that I used to want to be, and saying, now I'm going to take the actions. So now that I've gotten to the point where I have started, you know how people are always saying, just start right where you are, begin. Okay, I've begun, I've posted, you're watching, now what? And, personally for me, now it's just rinse and repeat. It's as simple as that, rinse and repeat. I have to keep using the tools that I have mentioned. I have to keep the consistency going. I have to keep recording these videos, no matter how long it takes, no matter if it, will cut in the middle of the video, no matter what happens, I need to keep consistent, and that is the only way forward that I see. But anyway, thank you for hanging out with me. Thank you for sitting down with me, listening to me discover, listening to me learning, listening to me growing. I really hope that we can grow together. Please stick around. Let me be accountable. I did say I'm starting now. I've said all these wonderful things, and now it's implementation time. And I really hope that if you have a goal, a dream, a desire, that you go for it as well, and you take steps in your life to become the person who does that. Even if it's a new hobby you want to start, career move, relationships, friendships, which we'll talk about stuff like that. But this video is to say, this is where I am. this is who I am, and I would love to take you along. I would love for us to share this space between. Till next time, toodles.